On behalf of the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services, the Administration on Aging, and the Indian Health Service, I would like to welcome everyone to the Long-Term Services and Supports webinar series. My name is Julie Cahoon, and I work for Kaufman and Associates. I will be the moderator for today's webinar. Before we begin, I would like to highlight the main features of your webinar interface. First is the main window, where you can see the PowerPoint slides. To the bottom right of the window is the Q&A pod. You can enter a question for our presenters at any time in the Q&A pod. However, today's question and answer period will be at the end of the presentation. Just above the Q&A pod is a Files pod, where you can download a copy of today's presentation slide set. To download, click on the file name to highlight it, and then click on the Download button. Just below the Q&A pod is a presentation link to a video clip that will be shared later on in the presentation. Also, please note that all hyperlinks shared throughout the presentation are active and clickable. If you click on a link, it may pull up a new browser window. To return to the webinar, minimize the browser window, and the webinar will be there for you. If you need technical assistance during the webinar, please enter your tech support question in the Q&A box. Our tech support staff will be monitoring these questions throughout the webinar and will work to answer your tech support questions right away. You will receive an answer in the Q&A box. Finally, please be aware that today's webinar is being recorded and that the recording will be made available online in the near future on cms.gov. With those announcements made, I'd like to welcome everyone to today's webinar. Today's webinar is titled Little Traverse Bay Bands of Odawa Indians, Tai Ji Quan Moving for Better Balance Elders Program. Our presenters today are Arlene Naganash, Tammy Okulishana Akwat, and Marlene Gasco. Arlene is a member of the Little Traverse Bay Bands of Odawa Indians and has been an active member in her community her entire life. She has been involved with work related to Native Americans in positions at both the state and federal levels. She is currently serving as the director of the Little Traverse Bay Band's Elders Department. Tammy has been working for the tribe as an outreach coordinator for the Elders Program for 6 years. Prior to her work with the Elders Program, she was a nurse for 30 years. Marlene has been working for the tribe for over 7 years. She began her work with the dental department and then transferred to the Healthy Heart Program, where she began to learn and train in Tai Ji Quan. She teaches Tai Ji Quan to elders to prevent falls and injuries. I would like to thank all of you for taking the time to join us today. I will now turn it over to Arlene for an introduction to today's topic.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to open our webinar with a little history on the initiation of a falls prevention grant here at Little Traverse Bay Bands of Odawa Indians. We received our grant in September of 2014 with our first objective to implement the evidence-based falls prevention program, Tai Ji Quan Moving for Better Balance. Our second objective was to reduce the number of elders who worry that they will fall in our community. Our instructor training workshop was scheduled for January 29th and 30th, 2015. That was 4 months into our grant. 2 staff from the Elders Program participated in that, and 9 volunteers from the community participated in that. Following that 2-day program, we were going to initiate the Tai Ji Quan prior to our elders' luncheons on both Tuesdays and Thursdays every week, which had 50 to 60 elders in attendance. In mid-June, about 9 months into our grant, we had a certified master instructor, Catherine Ranjiyu, who had attended in our January training, come to observe at the elders' luncheon for technique and skill of the trainers. We discovered at that time that with our 50 to 60 elders, it was too large to enable improvement of balance due to the number of participants that we had and also our environment, because we had tables and chairs and there wasn't room enough for our elders to move about safely. So we reviewed the grant objectives at that time, and we tweaked our program with implementation of these objectives, that our new instructors would not have more than 8 students, and that we also developed a contract with the master instructor for ongoing staff training. In July of 2015, we had our first Tai Ji Quan class here at our government center, and it was held by myself and an intern that we had for the summer. And it was nearly 1 year into our grant before we actually got going with our program. Tai Ji Quan is a research-based training designed by Dr. Fujian Li. It was adapted from the traditional art of Tai Ji Quan, and which helps both physical and mental well-being. It begins with focusing on your breathing, self-awareness, and controlling your body movement, and overall improving your balance. It's a 24-hour-a-week program where we learn 8 forms that are from easy to difficult, one form building on the other to improve muscle strength, balance, flexibility, mobility, and reducing our falls.
Far too often we see many of our elders using canes or walkers to help them assist with walking in everyday life. You also start hearing about, they've fallen, broken their hip, their arm, ankle. They come in with bruises on their arms, limbs. Some of them would come in with, bruised eyes and stuff because they've fallen. And to me, that was really disheartening. And to pretty much anybody else in this program for elders, it was really disheartening to see somebody in that type of condition falling and being stuck, like I said, with broken, limbs and that. So our goal once we started this program was to create something to help them build strength and to help retrain their bodies to learn how to move at various speeds, improving their range of motion and stabilizing their base of support. So that was basically my motivation to help get involved in this program and to really help the elders and stuff like that, to try making a positive impact on them, because the elders in that are really important, and you learn a lot from them and everything. You just want to be able to help them, be able to walk, and, be able to rely on themselves, to be able to walk into grocery stores and giving them that independence and stuff instead of having to rely on other people to help them all the time, and let them feel safe just walking around in their own homes and stuff and not worrying about falling or tripping and that. So that was one of the reasons why we really pushed for this program and wanted to get this started and get going and help as many as we could. There is a link at the bottom of the screen there that's actually the link that we used and was given to us from Dr. Lee and also from Catherine that will take you directly to the actual Tai Ji Quan Moving for Better Balance program. And if you click on that link, that will actually take you to the whole website and that, where you'll find more statistics of what Dr. Lee went through and did his research on, and other useful information, and the reason why the program was such a success. When we got started, we wanted to first get everything out on a flyer and let people know what it was all about. So this was the flyer that we had created. We didn't have these pictures that you see there right now. We were actually using other pictures from other people doing Tai Chi and stuff. But the more that we did it and the more that we were getting more of the classes and stuff like that involved, we started taking pictures and getting those students the recognition and stuff and getting their faces out there so other community members that seeing their fellow community members getting involved, maybe they would want to also get involved with it. So Are we still good, Julie?
Go to video connection.
It says no audio. You are good to go. Okay. So, again, on this flyer, like I said, we were trying to figure out a way to get the message across as to exactly what Tai Chi Quan was, moving for better balance, because when we talked about just it being an exercise class, a lot of the elders were a little hesitant because they didn't know what Tai Chi Quan was. So we put on there, obviously, no prior experience was needed, what it would actually, how they would actually benefit from it. And then we also put date, time, the location, let them know that it was free. They didn't have to pay anything for it. They could wear comfortable clothing, whatever they wanted. And then the two teachers, we put their teacher's name and then obviously the phone call if they had any questions, how to reach the ones that were going to be teaching the class. So after going through several one-on-one trainings over a series of weekends with Catherine, we actually were able to establish this flyer and be able to put all the wonderful benefits and pass this flyer out to all the elders at Elders Luncheon, any of the outreach work that we were doing. So the teachers, once we are done, were given a manual and videos to reference, and we did their best to follow what Dr. Lee had regarding the program and everything else. But even though the class was supposed to be a duration for 60 minutes, totaling 48 class sessions, which came out to be 6 months or whatnot, each instructor or teacher had to observe their students and use their judgment with each of their students just to make sure that they were understanding and meeting the requirements, because this was a totally new program to the teachers and the students in that. So once we got going with the program, we really had to look at, make sure that our students were understanding what we were asking them to do. So some of the times in my classes, I would actually repeat until I felt comfortable that they were understanding the different forms that we were asking them to do, and make sure that everybody, was where they needed to be before I pushed more onto them and had them do other forms in that. Like I said, as the program progressed, we added the photos of the students just so other elders could see their fellow community members taking an active role in their own health and well-being. We taught the two different classes on different days, trying to make it as much available as much as we could in different locations and stuff. And generally in my classes, I had anywhere from 3 to 8 students, and I do believe Tammy had about the same. Every once in a while, we would let employees come in or drop-ins come in and stuff. We wanted to basically reach out to everybody, so we never really turned anybody away. If they were non-elder, if they weren't an elder or not, it was just, we really believed in this training and stuff and wanted to be able to get it out there as much as we could. We kept track of the students' attendance and would give them incentives for their accomplishments, so that kind of kept them interested in coming back and doing the classes and stuff. So in the manual, it gave us teaching notes, class plans, intensity levels, therapeutic movements, and like I said, we only followed this until we felt comfortable that the class was understanding it. We didn't try rushing through it, even though it said you should be through this program within, they should be within this program within 24 weeks or whatever. We took our time for sure, like I said, because it was just a new program to these guys. We wanted to make sure they got the best benefit out of it. So, like I said, the classes were available twice a week, 2 different instructors. They wanted 60 minutes of exercise that included the warm-up and the cool-down. For me and my goal for my class and stuff was I wanted to keep these guys interested in doing and keeping up with this Tai Chi program and that, because, like I said, it was a really big benefit, and I saw that a lot could benefit from it. So I kept it as interesting as I could. I would dress up like an elf, around Christmas time. I would give out little incentives, for those that were showing up. We would do all different types of fun things. I would actually relocate my class during the summer months when it was nice out, get them outside so we're not stuck, inside 4 walls. I would get them outside so they could feel the sun, feel, the grass underneath their feet. We would go to a dock that we actually just got what's the word I'm looking for?
Boat launch.
A boat launch that we just had dedicated to one of our tribal members. That was just recently put in. So I took the class there at one time. There's a beautiful waterfall in downtown Petoskey that we would go and have classes at. So I was always just trying to find ways, like I said, to keep my students interested with it and keep them spiritually involved with doing Tai Chi. And at one of our students, we were asking all of them to give us a little bit of feedback on what Tai Chi has done for them. And this 77-year-old student said that Tai Chi she found was very refreshing for her, and that it helped get rid of some of the aches and pains that she was experiencing every day. So this is a list of the 8 forms that the students were to be taught within the program. And these 8 forms all had something to do with certain movements in that. So Form 1, move the ball. Basically, it was teaching them how to weight shift left to right, how to weight shift forward, how to step backwards, and just, like I said, just basic weight shifting. Form number 2, part in the wild horse's mane. That was teaching them. There was a couple of different ways that we could teach it, and basically what they wanted to do was, if they were happen to be sitting in a chair reaching for something, or if they were up reaching for something, they could feel exactly, the weight shift and be able to reach up and grab a cup off of the top shelf and not have to worry about falling in that. So it was just rebuilding that muscle and teaching them how to reach for something safely. Form number 3, single whip, was another one they could use for another, like I said, reaching for something. Form number 4, wave hands like cloud. That one we use basically for scanning the room. A lot of the time some elders were talking like they would trip over an object that they didn't get a chance to see. It was in the way or whatever. This taught them how to focus on a certain object in the room and be able to maneuver around that, make them look around and be aware of their surroundings and where they are, and if there's any obstacles in their way for walking, how to avoid stuff like that. Form number 5, repulse monkey, was teaching them how to step backwards safely, or if they were stumbling backwards, they knew how to regain control and get their balance back. So repulse monkey had anything to do with stepping backwards. Form number 6, brush knees. That was one to teach them how to turn around safely. A lot of the time, some of our elders try to turn too quickly or make a motion to turn right too quickly or left, and the next thing you know, they're stumbling, and then they're falling down. And they're falling down, getting the bruises or breaking a hip or anything like that. So this form basically taught them how to transfer their weight and how to turn around safely without having to worry about falling. Form number 7 and form number 8, fair lady works the shuttles and grasping the peacock's tail. Those were multiple movements and probably the most difficult ones for our classes and that to go through because there was so much detail into every step that they had to do, every fluid motion of moving their arms and their rhythmic breathing that they had to do in order to be successful in doing it. But like I said, it was just multiple movements and learning them, everything that they learned from form number 1 all the way to through form number 6. All of those are basically attached in those last 2 forms. The forms that they did, all 8 of these were repetitive, and like I said, they kept rebuilding one onto another and help them build muscle strength and coordination and flexibility just for everyday motion for them.
Along with these 8 forms, we engaged in different exercises. An example would be rotational weight shifting. The elders may be standing. They would rotate from the hip left to right. We might ask them to step out to 1 o'clock and reach using good posture, tummy tuck, chest out, and chin up. Always building, again, stepping back to being centered. So another exercise, toes lift, or moving heel to toe. These are specific moves directed by the instructor and practiced intentionally to teach us and remind our elders to walk from heel to toe. Because as research proves, we tend to shuffle more as we age, not picking up our feet or even engaging in the environment around us. Which would bring us to the next, engaged in coordinated eye and head movement. We're going back to form number 4, wave hand like clouds. That was where the elders would bring their hand in front of their face, turning to one side, left or right, and scanning the room beyond their hands. That's a prime example of that exercise. And every time we would initiate a movement in any of these practices, we would breathe in. When we initiate, you breathe in, and then you let go and breathe out. It's synchronized to help one build a natural rhythm to each move. In all of these, we continue to practice moving the student near pushing to the end of their base support and then back to their center of gravity where they would be able to prevent a fall from happening.
This slide here is titled ankle sways, and this was actually my favorite teaching tool. As you can see, I have a clock that's on there. When I was teaching and observing my students, through all the forms and any of these ankle sways and stuff, they were always talking about diagonal step, to 1 o'clock, diagonal step to 11 o'clock, and a lot of the times I was seeing my elders not understanding where 11 and 1 o'clock was on the clock, not even knowing their right from their left or how to go forward and backward. So before each class, I had decided I would have a clock on the wall, and I would actually put left and right on there too, so they understood when I would tell them to take a step in a certain direction or weight shift a certain way and stuff. They knew exactly, okay, that's the left side or that's the right side, and where their 3 and 9 o'clocks were and stuff. So this wall, like I said, this clock I would always have on the wall for my students so they understood exactly what direction they needed to go in. And once I put that on there, each student really excelled with every exercise, having that visual aid and that. So instead of listening to me command them and tell them which way to go and stuff, they had this clock up there so they knew exactly, which direction and form and stuff like that, what steps they were to take. This exercise, to me, was an important one, to teach them in order for them to have balance and the ability to walk without stumbling, because it not only made them aware of the feeling all the way around the foot, because when you do ankle sways, you're using your whole foot. You're weight shifting forward, you're weight shifting back on your heels, we're weight shifting over to the right, so you're feeling the outside of your foot, weight shifting over to the left, so you're feeling your left foot. So it made them more aware of the sensation of their feet when they're walking. And it's huge, especially for the diabetic students that I had, because a lot of them, at times would lose sensation in their feet. This way, teaching them how to do ankle sways and stuff and encouraging them to do them not only in class but by themselves at home, they were able to understand and be able to feel and regain some of that sensation in some of their feet, especially when, and like I said, it helped when they were walking. The strengthening of the ankles was really extremely important for them because it helped some of them have the reassurance when just walking on soft ground, walking on a soft, grassy area or in the sand or anywhere on uneven ground in there or using stairs. They had that reassurance that their ankle wasn't going to give out, and it was strengthened enough to help them make sure that they could make that next step and take that next step with confidence that they weren't going to fall at all. For me, I really believe in this certain exercise here because it actually has done wonders for me, not only as a trainer and teacher of Tai Chi, but I also play a lot of softball and volleyball competitively, and I was always finding a way to injure my ankle. Every summer or every other game, I was having problems with my ankle, so my ankles just felt really weak. But since teaching this type of ankle sways and that, I've actually had no issues with it at all. And now that I'm a personal trainer and I do one-on-one trainings with some of my clients and stuff, and I actually teach them other exercise classes, I've actually used these ankle sways in my classes and stuff because, like I said, I've seen my elders really, really benefit from it, and pretty much anybody can benefit from actually using these ankle sways. You don't have to be an elder or any, like I said, anybody can use it and really benefit from it.
My location also, I utilize the clock on the wall with left and right, and just going a little past the ankle sways, we would push to where you would fall. You would go past that little place. You would fall forward, catch yourself. Again, we're building on flexibility and muscle memory. And I like it to a basketball player that goes and he makes the basket over and over again to the point where he can almost do it with his eyes shut. We're teaching the muscles how to act in the event of stumbling, becoming imbalanced. So, again, that is how we utilize it in our session.
This is Arlene, and my past nursing experience includes orthopedic and psychiatric nursing. When I took the Tai Chi training, it helped me remember my work in orthopedics when we talked about the wide base of support. Actually worked in a hospital taking care of patients who had knee replacements and hip replacements and broken hips. So therefore, I was always teaching our people as they were recovering to use that wide base of support. And again, when we started using Tai Chi and learning how to stand using the Tai Chi methods, again, to reinforce that wide base of support, keep your body in alignment, decrease the stress on your body as you stand. One of the things I liked about it was that standing exercise, because I had read some research about elders breaking their hips, and they had found that a lot of elders break their hips from standing, not from falling. It's a stress on the hip as you stand. So if you can decrease that stress as you stand, it will reduce that risk of breaking that hip. Also, as a psychiatric nurse, we taught a lot of deep breathing. Deep breathing to help you to relax, to reduce your stress. And one of the things that, happens is that you're more apt to fall when your stress level is high. It's about taking that deep breath, scanning your surroundings, opening if you take that deep breath and make your shoulders fall down and open your blood vessels so that you're more relaxed. Also, the other thing that I found out in Tai Chi, and I didn't learn this from Dr. Lee, I learned it from another person who was teaching Tai Chi at our local friendship center. And when Dr. Lee was here, he focused on teaching us the 8 movements. This other person, who was an instructor, talked about the Tai Chi movements and connecting to the energy of the earth. As tribal people, we understand that and talk about the energy of the Mother Earth. So as soon as she said that, my brain woke up and I said, I know this. This makes sense to me. So in some of the movements that I say, we talk about pushing away the negative energy, which in our language is manada. We talk about pulling that positive energy toward us, which is nishin, and making a ball. We believe in living in the circle of life. And so therefore, when you make a ball, when you do that motion and you make a ball, you can feel that energy in both of your hands. And that helps you to remember, it takes you to a different place. It's connected to our spirituality. So this was really, really important and helped me really grab hold of the Tai Chi teaching and want to incorporate them into our community. One of the things that Marlene and I did, we had an opportunity to present at the Region 5 tribal consultation before HHS. And one of the things that we did was we showed in the end the making of a butterfly. And that making of that butterfly incorporates most of the moves that you do in Tai Chi. And actually, we use that making of the butterfly as kind of our ending of our session. Our 1-hour session, we make a butterfly. So the butterfly and our spirituality is very important because you change. You change from that little larvae to a butterfly, and that is that form of everlasting light and flying away. So also that helped us help the students have fun and enjoy, understanding that the session was almost ending, and that we could make our butterfly any way that we saw it. But go ahead, Marlene.
Yeah, so this actually was my second favorite one, not only because it was towards the end of the session and most of my students knew that they were almost done with their exercise routine and that, but just watching my students make these motions and go through making their own little butterflies, a lot of them just really had wild imaginations, and they would go and make these, really large butterflies, and some of them would make them really small, and I don't think anyone ever made like the same butterfly. And sometimes we would actually do this 2 or 3 times at the end because the students just love, that fluid motion and that breathing in and out that we were doing and everything else. I had one elder who was, so creative, and he would make his butterfly at the end. The next thing you know, he'd slap his hands together because he was like, there, I just squashed it. So they always had a lot of fun with it, and I always found them, really laughing and enjoying, the end when making these butterflies and stuff. And like Arlene had said, it's a spiritual thing with a lot of them. And like I said, some of them would just make these big butterflies or these little tiny ones. I mean, it was their way to be creative and just have a good time with doing exercise. And they never really knew they were doing it.
Our Tai Chi master trainer was Catherine Runjiu, excuse me, a.k.a. Catherine. She was the key to our success. Through her ongoing instruction, it enabled us to maintain the fidelity of the program. Through her encouragement over multiple visits, she was both inspiring and reassuring. And every Tai Chi program should have access to a master-level trainer.
This is Arlene again, and like I said before, taking the Tai Chi refreshed my training as an orthopedic and mental health nurse. As an elder, it helped me strengthen my upper thighs. I have myasthenia gravis. Some of you may know what that is. It's a severe weakening of the voluntary muscles, and it especially affected my upper thighs, so that for the past 50 years, in order to stand, I've always had to push myself out of the chair or grab a hold of something and pull myself out of the chair because my upper thighs weren't strong enough to do that. With Tai Chi and learning to move to the front of the chair and using the wide base of support, and then using my arms to gradually add my strength, I was able to stand without those supports. I can stand now without pushing myself off the chair or grab hold of something. That to me is just wonderful. It is, my own internal feeling of success and support. And also the things that says that if I tend to be stressed out, I sometimes do some of the movements and feel the energy of the Mother Earth and that connection. If I can go outside in the summertime and take my shoes off and find some grass where, there isn't any stones, and I can feel close to the Mother Earth and do some of those movements, it feels wonderful. You don't have to take a anti-anxiety or nerve pill. All you do is deep breathe and let the Mother Earth take your stress away. I also learned from the Friendship Center that this instructor told us to keep our arms and knees bent. I know Marlene always talks to us about keep your knees soft, but that didn't make a lot of I didn't quite get it, soft knees, But what she says is, keep your extremities bent, because when you do that, it allows that energy that flows from the earth to flow through your body freely. Whereas if you put your arms and legs out straight, it causes stress on the joint, and it's a blockage for that energy flow. And so, I again had I get it. And it's, I wish you had a camera to watch us here doing this webinar, because we're doing Tai Chi over here in front of the computer. That's how connected we are to this program.
Yeah. This is Tammy again. When I began Tai Chi Moving for Better Balance, I was very excited to bring this program to our elders, but I also was very overwhelmed, especially after the first 2 days of training, where we were introduced to all these different forms very quickly and then expected to train them. So again, that's why I reflect back on Catherine, who came in and spent the time with us to teach and train the forms so that we would do them well and do them correctly to assist our tribal elders. And as we got with our elders and got them to come and join us in the classes, it was very rewarding to see as they started growing, learning those different forms and succeeding at them, which at first was very difficult. You could see them struggling, but with that struggle, there came a lot of laughter, a lot of interaction, and again, to make it fun. And that Spaders love to have fun. And so we were able to see, as time went on, the progress and that we actually were getting feedback not only from our elders, but from physicians, from therapists, that they were seeing improvement of our elders that had medical concerns. And so I was very excited, and I strongly encourage anyone that is thinking about instituting a Tai Chi Quan program to do so, because it definitely improved the health and well-being of our tribal community.
This is Marlene again, and like Tammy had said, just now was, this practice that we were learning was something completely foreign. I came along in the later stages. I think it might have been almost a year after these guys had received the grant. They did the teaching a couple of days with Dr. Lee and stuff. I unfortunately was not part of that just yet. Like I said, they actually came and recruited me from the health department and talked to my community health director and said, hey, we need to get her involved with it, because I was involved with some other things, active physical activity and stuff. And then once they came and they had asked me, I'm like, absolutely. Like I said, my elders that I've seen and work with and stuff and see on a regular basis were pretty important to me in that. And my mom is an elder, and seeing her do this program and seeing her go through it and stuff, it's a really good program, and I've seen her really benefit from it. Like I said, the reason I wanted to do it was because I wanted to be able to help my community. I want to be able to help my elders. And once I got going, it wasn't just my elders I wanted to help. I wanted to help, everybody that I could. It didn't matter the age and stuff like that. I wanted to be able to find a way to help them stay healthy and strong. It really taken and learning this Tai Chi Quan practice and stuff really helped me find my purpose and passion in life, and being able to want to help people of all ages and that find their health and well-being. So since I've actually done the Tai Chi program and that with the elders, I've actually furthered my journey into the fitness realm, and I actually went to a few seminars that were put on by the Native American Fitness Council, and received some multiple trainer certifications through them. Since then, I've received my personal trainer, functional exercise, group fitness, medical conditions, and exercise training. And I really don't think I would have found that just kind of like on my own, or it might have taken me longer to realize that our community needed something like this to kind of get something jump-started and everything else. And like I said, it really started with getting this program going and seeing the benefits that my elders were, and being able to communicate with some of them. I see them out in the community anywhere, and they'll always flash me, like they're holding their ball, or they'll take a step a certain way, and they'll show me their Tai Chi step real quick, and just knowing that I helped them do that, it's just kind of, like I said, you find a way to socialize with them and everything else. And since then, I've actually been doing the elders exercise before their luncheons and that, because it's winter time and everything else, and there's traveling conditions and that are kind of hectic up here in northern Michigan. I travel over here and work with some students and that. I have probably anywhere for like up to 10 students that come and sit with me. And we'll do about 20 to 30 minutes of any type of exercise. Sometimes we'll do some Tai Chi movements and breathing and everything else. Other times I've brought in, like water bottles, small exercise balls, some light weights, resistance bands, just anything just to get them to move and stuff, whether it be, these Tai Chi movements and deep breathing, or just any type of exercise. Anything is going to help. And like I said, and they've really enjoyed the different teachings and stuff that they've been able to do at the Elders Luncheon exercise. So what we decided to do to get this program, to keep it going throughout the years and stuff, is we've showcased that pretty much anywhere that would let us, Arlene would call and be like, hey, we're doing this. We're going to be at the Odawa Casino Health Fair. We're going to do a demonstration. Okay, Arlene, we're going to show up there. We're going to do a presentation, get up in front of a bunch of people, and we're going to do, our movements and stuff. And so these are the different places that we did the showcasing at. And to me, it was rewarding just because of the elders and the students that you had worked with for so long. You want to be able to give them credit and show people how far they've come. And basically, this Tai Chi, even though people didn't know what it was, the benefits that their fellow community members were having from it and stuff. So, and we'd also encourage participation from the audience in that. And there were several, you look out in the audience, and there would be people participating, and they would actually come up to you and talk to you after you did it, and we're just like, oh my gosh, how do I get involved? Or that was so refreshing, and to see, and congratulate the ones that got up there. And it was just something, like I said, it was nice to showcase that type of stuff. So to me, like I said, this exercise really didn't matter to me, just as long as these elders are moving. We want to keep them strong and keep them going. So like I said, this was like the perfect thing to kind of jumpstart and help them build, like I said, their confidence back in themselves, and they gain their muscle strength and that just to help them out through everyday life.
One of the things we did when we were trying to get other people interested, we asked the participants if they wouldn't mind giving us some feedback about the benefits they received from doing this Tai Chi. And an 82-year-old elder told us that she really enjoyed the Tai Chi classes, that they were well organized and so helpful in maintaining her strength, that she has had less problems with balance since the class and would enjoy continuing to attend. A 72-year-old elder told me that Tai Chi has helped her a lot with balance and also with improving her mobility during regular exercise. She also has enjoyed the companionship with the other elders who participated in the program. And the picture that's in front of you now, I said, when I saw this before, I said, always focus on the elders and what they were doing and the water and the beauty of that. And then I said, what I saw just within the past couple of weeks was that little one. I don't know why she was down here. Maybe we were doing a boat launch. But she was standing there, and somehow she got in the picture and was captured. And what she's doing is that she's seeing us do our Tai Chi movement, and she's mimicking our movement. We did not ask her to do this. She just decided to get out there and do it. You know, and this is a very strong part of our culture as Anishinaabe people, that we need to pass on our wisdom to our children. If we do that and we do it well, then our journey into the next world is much easier. And you can see right here, those 5 elders standing up there are passing on their wisdom, and that little girl is doing her part and taking it up and practice what she sees.
I'm not an elder just yet, Arlene, just so you know.
Well, she's getting close. She acts like an elder. And another thing we did was we were to do incentives. And in our culture, we have a giveaway. But a giveaway is something that is meaningful to you. And so we looked around to say, what would be meaningful in this program that we're having? We're trying to improve balance. So we have in our area, in our swampy area, Diamond willow. I keep forgetting the name. The diamond willow. It grows in the swamp. And then one young man back there, he agreed to go out into the swamp and harvest some of the diamond willow for us. And the other young man that's standing in the back, he agreed to help us out and remove the bark from the diamond willow and sand it down so it would be nice and smooth. And the other one applied the shellac to the diamond willow. They're very strong. They're very lightweight, but they're very strong. And if you look, you can see it on the bottom. I don't know whether you can see it or not, but there's a little metal things on the bottom of the walking sticks. And they are there. I got this from somebody who was using a cane. I said, they have little clips on them so that you can put them down so that when you need more support in your walking stick, say, to go up a little incline and you need it to dig into the ground, these prongs will come down and then you can get more traction as you're going up a little incline. Or if you're going outside and it's a bit slippery and you want your walking stick to dig into the ground, that will work. And if you don't need it, you can just put the little things that they're very easy to move and put them back up so that they're not sticking down. Also, on the bottom of the walking stick, we put rubber. There is a thing you put on chairs just to keep them so that our elders could use them when they're inside and they won't slip around. And so they got to have these when they completed, I think it was 12 weeks.
This slide here just basically shows the contact information. Obviously, Arlene is the elder director here, and she's the one that kind of spearheaded this whole
initiative to get this program going, and was the main driving force and the one who recruited me. And then obviously the other teachers, Tammy, Oakley, Shananoquit, both of them work in the elders department, and like I said, Tammy is the outreach coordinator. I myself, I work in the community health department at the health park across town. But this is all of our information, contact phone number and stuff. If anybody has any questions, that's how you would, if you want to email or just call us directly, those are the numbers there. And then if you need to send any information to us, at the bottom there, it's Little Traverse Bay Bands of Odawa Indians. Just put attention, so-and-so, but it's 7500 Odawa Circle, Harbor Springs.
And then we also incorporated our Odawa language into our program. It said we did several demonstrations at gatherings, and we wanted to have a uniform. And so we decided we would put our message in Odawa on our uniform. And so it says Gagwa Gishnika, which means don't fall. Tai Ji Nikanda, which means I know Tai Ji. And that's the end of our presentation.
So, Julie, if you want to take over for the video clip that we have at the end there to play that for them. And there it is.
We'll play this video clip. It will be about 2.5 minutes, and it is a demonstration of Tai Chi Quan.
Again, we're sitting towards the front of our chair. So Peter says, slightly pull back behind our knees. Okay, and let's go ahead and exhale back. Go forward for 1. Okay, let's get number 2 for us. Okay, number 3 is going to stand all the way up. Exhale. Very slowly take 1 nice step away from the chair. We're going to do form number 1. We're going to move our ball. So right hand on top, left hand on the bottom. Load it on our right. Go ahead and wind up to the right. Left foot step to 9. Weight shift. Get your ball. Push out that right foot. Off to our left. Okay, wind up to the left. Right foot step to 3. Weight shift. Get your ball and then push out that left foot. Okay, form number 2. We're going to part the wild horse's knee. We're going to wind up to the right. Okay, left foot step to 1 o'clock. Back to center. We're going to push our left hand forward and our right hand pushes down. We're going to rotate our thumb. Go ahead and reach forward. Rock back so your toe comes up. Pull your toe in and weight shift forward. Push out that back leg. Left hand on top of your leg. Okay, wind up to the left. Right foot step to the left to 1 o'clock. Right hand push forward. Left hand drops down. Go ahead and reach forward. Rock back so your toe comes up. Point your toe in and reach it forward. Push out the back left leg. Right hand on top of left. Okay, form number 5. We pulse munch. We're going to go backwards. We're going to wind up to the right. And left foot back. Step back to 8 o'clock. And we shift all the way back to the toe up. Push your right hand forward and up. Left. Drop your chin. Go ahead and over. And then we drop. 1 more time, we're going to open. Pull your right foot back to your left. Left hand on top of your right hand. Okay, go ahead and wind up to the left. Okay, right foot step back. Drop back all the way to your toe comes up. Push your left hand forward and drop your right hand. Rotate your thumb to the right. Go ahead and drop your hands. Get ready to open up your umbrella. We open. Drop. Okay, 1 more time, we're going to open. Put your left foot back, right hand on top of left. Okay, we're going to do form number 3.
Can we make a comment? Do you hear it?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. We just wanted to point out that we specifically had the 2 people on the end sitting down during this demonstration because we wanted to show the elders that they didn't have to be able to stand to participate in these activities. It was okay if they stayed in the chair. They could still exercise and maintain some of their mobility. Okay, I'm done.
Great. So we will use the remaining time for questions and any comments. So we did have a number of questions come through the Q&A pod during the presentation, so I will go ahead and start with those. So our first question is, did the fact that this was an evidence-based program have any meaning for the elders? Would that translate culturally?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Did the fact that the Tai Ji Quan program was evidence-based have any meaning for the elders?
No. I mean, we didn't focus on that. What we, I guess, focused on was not to say this is evidence-based practice. What we focused on was movement, fall prevention, and once we made that connection, because I guess in the beginning I didn't say, I became the elders director after the grant was already submitted and approved. So I had to learn myself all about Tai Chi and what that meant. And once I made that connection with the Mother Earth, to me, it said, well, this is okay. This is what we believe in. And so we tried very hard once we found out that in order to do the evidence-based program, we had to do 1 hour twice a week for this many weeks. We tried to follow that program because we wanted to do what was done in the proposal. We wanted to get an A+. We're kind of those type of people. We wanted to do well. Besides, teach our elders ways of not falling and increasing their mobility. Does that answer the question?
Yes, that sounds good. So our next question is, did you use any incentives to get participants to join the program?
The incentives that we use were, like I said, the walking sticks. We had got some other ones that we were potentially going to use, and they were all culturally based, but we didn't give them out. And then, actually, those who participated didn't ask for them. I think they felt so good about doing the Tai Chi, that was enough for them.
Okay. So the next question is about...
I think it was the camaraderie, the togetherness. I just did this past week again another follow-up survey with the people who participated for the whole 12 weeks, and that's what they said to me. They liked the togetherness. They missed not having the Tai Chi classes. They would come to somewhere, we would have them again, and actually we are looking at, we are considering how can we do, maybe even if it's only once a month, a gathering and do the Tai Chi. We haven't let this go yet. We're just thinking, how can we do this,
Mm-hmm. That's perfect. Thank you for that, Arlene. So the next question is about data collection. Was there any data collected on falls or injuries before and after the program was implemented?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prior to, we had a survey done by the grant writers themselves and which established the need and that there was a fear of falling and multiple falls in our community. And then afterwards, we have just recently done, as Eileen had indicated, another set of surveys which has shown progress and that, in fact, they want to continue. And so we're hoping that, this new enlightenment will catch fire in the community and will continue with these exercise areas.
Great. Thank you so much. So the time is up, but I want to ask one more question since a number of questions came in related to this. But are you aware of a Tai Ji Quan network of trainers that audience members can connect with?
Do we know of other trainers that
I think we ourselves, we relied on Catherine, who was in southern Michigan. We're in northern Michigan, and we were very thankful that she was that close to us, given that Dr. Lee was way out there in Oregon. Now, I don't know who else, he has, but probably you could contact Dr. Lee and see what other, people that he has in different areas. Catherine was really wonderful for us. She broke the training down into smaller steps and gave us lots of feedback on what we were doing and what we could do to improve. I will say we had difficulties, getting people to sign up for 26 weeks. We live up here in northern Michigan. There is no public transportation. We are not connected in the community. We live far away from each other, and it's always a distance to drive. And so, but we, continue to teach our community members about Tai Chi, even if they wouldn't, sign up for the program or couldn't make, 12 classes that they would drop in. It showed they were interested, and we would teach what we could.
Okay. That's a perfect response. Thank you, Arlene, and thank you to our other presenters. That's all the questions that we have time for now. There were other questions that came in, so how we'll address those is we will follow up this webinar with a thank you email that will provide the responses to those questions. So again, I would like to thank Arlene, Tammy, and Marlene for joining us today and sharing information about the Tai Ji Quan program. In closing, I would like to remind everyone that today's webinar was recorded and that the audio and PowerPoint will be made available online at cms.gov on the LTSS Technical Assistance Center website. Thank you again for joining today's webinar. Our session is now concluded.